So in the book Code of the Extraordinary Mind, one of the things I talk about is the idea of finding your quest. And the quest is really your purpose, your mission. Over decades, people have been using different terms to describe it. Since this book is written for the current generation, I use the word quest because it's a popular term that comes from computer games. In every computer game, you have this hero, this archetype who has to go battle villains and then complete a quest. The question is, in life, what is that quest for you? And for some people, it can get tricky. It can get tricky to figure out what is that thing that's going to drive you, make you get out of bed every morning, so excited about going forth in the world and doing something epic, something that can make a dent. For many people, it takes a while to find that. And that's what I love about Martin, whom I'm sitting with over here. Martin and I were having lunch in Mexico about a year ago.
Right.
And we ended up talking. And he told me about a particular sequence of questions that he devised. He called it the Heaven on Earth exercise. And when I did that with him, instantly, I got greater clarity on my quest. And I'm a guy who kind of felt I knew my quest, but it made it so much more solid for me. And when I shared Martin's exercise with other people across the world, they too got it. They instantly got what they were meant to do. And that's the purpose of this video. I'm really delighted to bring you Martin, and he's going to be sharing with you this beautiful, powerful exercise to help you find your quest. Martin?
Thank you, Vishen. Pleasure to be with you. Hello, everybody. The questions that Vishen asked, the quest, what's the quest? I think we all have a quest in life, and our quest is to find our quest. And so I'd like to help you, if I can, discover what that is for you. And they're what I call the 3 heaven on earth questions. I had done a lot of work as a consultant in helping companies come up with, and individuals come up with their vision. Where do we want to go in life? As an individual, where do we want to go as a company? And that really answers the question, what do I want? As opposed to how am I going to get there? Because what is the primary question? How is the secondary question? So after years of working with that, it dawned on me that perhaps you have a vision for the kind of world you want, bigger than just you as an individual, including you as an individual, including your relationships, your company. And so I developed these 3 questions about heaven on earth, because for me, heaven on earth is deeper than vision. And so what I'd like to do is ask you the 3 questions. And as I ask each question, we're going to put that up on the screen, and I'm going to ask you to then pause, answer the question, and then come back and I'll talk about the question in more detail. So, question number 1. Recall a time when you experienced heaven on earth. Recall a time when you experienced heaven on earth. What was happening? So pause now, answer that question, and then come back. All right, so you've just answered the question. Recall a time when you experienced heaven on earth. And what you might have noticed is that what you did is answer the question. It could be a time you were walking in nature, a time you were with your husband, your wife, seeing a child born, coming up with some new idea. But what I want you to notice is you do know what heaven on earth is, or you would not have been able to answer that question. It's what I call an already knowing within you. So that's question 1. Question 2, imagine you have a magic wand. And with this wand, you can have heaven on earth. What's heaven on earth for you? So answer that question. You can write it down, you can draw it, you can think about it, and then pause and come back. Okay, having answered question 2, what you will have discovered is you do know what heaven on earth is. And the purpose of the magic wand is to remove the necessity of having to know how you're going to do it, so you can focus purely on the what. That's a very powerful thing in life, to not know how and just focus on the what. It's not that the how won't show up, but it's not the primary question. It's always the secondary question. And what I'd love you to do with these 3 questions as well, I'll ask the 3rd question in a moment, is ask other people the same questions and begin to notice how people answer what heaven on earth is for them. The 3rd question is, what simple, easy, concrete steps will you take in the next 24 hours to make heaven on earth real for you? What simple, easy, concrete steps will you take in the next 24 hours to make heaven on earth real for you? Pause the video now. All right, so now we have answered, hopefully, the 3 questions. A time you experienced heaven on earth, so you do know what it is. Here's a magic wand, and with it you can have heaven on earth. What is heaven on earth for you? That should open up a huge new domain for you, or deepen a domain you already know. And the 3rd question, what simple, easy, concrete steps will you take in the next 24 hours to move that forward? So the reason we ask the questions in the way we do is to get you in touch with what heaven on earth is for you and start acting on it in simple, tiny ways. Because by starting simply and easy and concretely, you've entered the arena and you start expanding it. And then by asking these 3 questions of others, you start to broaden it for them as well. And so what? So you begin to be an actor, as you said, Vishen, in changing the world because of your quest. So my quest is, in terms of all people in the world, more and more people starting answering this question, is we start to shift the story of what it means to be a human and what it means to be humanity. And you have that power within you today, right now, to shift the story of what it means to be a human and what it means to be humanity.
Thank you, Martin. So think about the implications of that for a second. In the Code to an Extraordinary Mind, we talk about how many of us grow up following the rules of past generations. And one of those rules is the idea of career. You know, kids are raised to answer the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the problem with that is that when you ask a child that question, that child is creating a vision for his future based on what he sees in the world around him. But the world is changing so rapidly. And many people end up trapped due to education conditioning, societal conditioning, into dead-end jobs where they are not actually contributing to pushing the world forward. But when you start with these questions, you are opening up a whole different way of creating your future. But when you ask yourself these questions, what's happening is you are coming from the realm of possibility. So you are not constraining yourself based on education models that you've come from. That's number 1. Number 2, you are phrasing it in such a way where when you attain the end result of the answers of these questions, you're helping everyone else in humanity move forward with you. Hence the idea of heaven on earth. And that's what I love about it.
Thanks, Vishen.
So as an example, I'm going to share with you my response to these 3 questions. Martin, would you like to ask them?
I would love to ask. So Vishen, recall a time when you experienced heaven on earth.
So
what was going on?
So in my case, heaven on earth for me was playing with my son and my daughter and being with these kids that were so incredible, inquisitive. To me specifically, it was doing a science project with my son. He's a science geek. He loves science. And heaven on earth was seeing how the mind of a child could be so inquisitive, so intelligent, and could have so many questions and curiosities about the world.
Isn't it interesting? So folks, notice that what he did was go right to the answer. He didn't ask, nor does anyone ask, what do you mean, Martin, by heaven on earth? Because there is what I call his already knowing. In his case, it was working with his son on this project, went right to it.
Right.
Second question, here's a magic wand, and with this wand, you can have heaven on earth. What's heaven on earth?
And when Martin asks me that, like my being beams with joy. And I wonder if the 2 billion children on this earth could all have the same opportunity that my son had, to some degree, to be able to learn about the world, to learn science, whether it's on iPads or it's through beautiful schools or great teachers or parents who are trained on how to, help a child explore all the things about the world that he wants to explore. That to me is heaven on earth. An amazing new education revolution for people of the planet.
Now watch, folks, do you see what happened? He said his soul beams. It's really his deep, deep soul is touched by that question. And what surprises me is when I discovered the question, how easy it is for people to just go, oh, well, I know what heaven on earth is, boom, 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 and they list it out, and then they start going. But it's a question that's not been asked a lot, obviously, in the world, because, well, heaven on earth, that's impossible, it's too big, I can't do that, blah, 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 blah. None of that stuff. We want to just go boom, right into it. Third question, what simple, easy, concrete step or steps will you take in the next 24 hours to have more of that?
And see, I like that question, because you didn't ask me to fix the world. You said, what simple, easy steps I can take. Simple, easy steps. And to me, it's writing. It could be writing a blog post on raising wonderful kids. It's the book I'm working on right now, Code to an Extraordinary Mind, because it gives parents a way to help their kids turn into extraordinary individuals. Or it could be coming home a little bit earlier from work and just playing and having more fun with my own children. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm contributing to that vision I have for the world.
Exactly right. What we want is people not to be overwhelmed by, oh my God, my vision to end hunger, to have every kid educated. It's too big, I can't do it. So if we ask that the third question, what simple, easy, concrete steps can you take? And boom, you know the answers. Oh, well, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And then what that does is it gets you into the heaven on earth game from your definition. You notice I didn't tell you what heaven on earth is. You told you. If I told you, that's proselytizing. You're going to resist. But if you tell you, it's really evoking it. You know exactly what it is. Your soul knows exactly what it is. And you start beaming because you want to do that. That's why you're here.
And here's the secret. Here's the secret. If you've gone through the Code to the Extraordinary Mind, you'll also realize that when you're doing what you love, it's almost as if the universe has your back. It becomes easier. So many of us are miserable in terms of what we do or struggling in what we do because we dislike what we do. When you dislike what you do, you are not able to activate those superpowers that we all inherently have. So it's so important that you have a passion, you see meaning, that you love what you do. The great tragedy with the modern world is that so many people end up taking careers where they fundamentally dislike what they do. Now, I've been there, and 10 years ago, Martin, if I were to answer these questions, it would have been very different. I just discovered meditation. My idea of heaven on earth was people learning how to meditate. And so what did I do? I quit my job that had no excitement for me, selling technology software. I quit my job and I started a meditation website. And I didn't make much money, but every single day I woke up creating my heaven on earth, spreading the idea of meditation and mindfulness practices to, not even millions, 20 people a month. That's all I touched. But every day I loved what I did. And that activated my superpower. That put me in a state of discipline. That allowed me to bend reality. And that's how I was able to grow in terms of what I do. And now my vision of heaven and earth has changed to more education. But again, because it's something that excites me, every single day is a victory. Every single day I'm doing my mission. I'm doing something I love. And that is the main lesson of this video. We want you to be able to get there too.
And you can get there. This is not only about Vishen, this is not only about me, this is about you, and you have, and I love that phrase, you have this superpower within you. You know. One of the things that's always interesting to me is when I say to people, tell me about your vision, tell me about, well, I don't know. I want to speak to, if the issue is I don't know, you are not allowed to say that anymore. You can think it, you just can't say it. And what that does, I don't know if you've ever seen that, when somebody says, when you ask somebody a question about, what do you want to do with your life? Well, I don't know. It stops everything. But if you say to them, okay, fine, you don't know, you're just not allowed to say that anymore. It disrupts the entire machinery. They're, so what do you know that you don't want to do? That's also an important question. You don't want to do this? Good. What do you want to do? And using the magic wand, it will help you get there. The other thing we talked about before we went on air here was the whole notion of quest and purpose. And I was saying to Vishen, that's good. Change your name to Vishen instead of Vishen. When we look at purpose statements, most people think purpose statement is something like, the purpose of my life is to be successful. Never mind the successful for the moment, but it's the form of the verb. It's the infinitive. The purpose of my life is to be successful. When you think of that, of the structure of the verb, the infinitive, it's future tense. The purpose of my life is to be successful sometime in the future. I want to suggest that you change that to the purpose of my life is being successful. It's called the present progressive in grammar. Being successful versus to be successful, very, very different. So whatever being is for you, you can answer that question as being successful, being happy, being whatever it is. And so you have to keep looking in each moment. Am I living my purpose in this moment? And the answer is yes or no. If it's no, change. If it's yes, do more of that. So it's present progressive for purpose.
And that's a very, very, very important lesson, right? Because it puts you in happiness in the now as you're working on your quest. So thank you so much, Martin.
Thank you, Vishen.
Awesome
Thanks for
stuff.
your work. Thank you.
Yes. And Martin, so those of you who want to find out a little bit more about Martin,
Yes.
where can we learn about
We can learn
your
it
work?
by going to projectheavenonearth.com. All one word, projectheavenonearth.com. The 3 questions that I just asked are there as well. You'll see people there who are both experiencing heaven on earth and co-creating. Experiencing in the now and co-creating in the next moment. Being heaven on earth and becoming heaven on earth. You'll see examples, you'll see questions, you'll see resources. You can sign up for my newsletter. It's all there, projectheavenonearth.com.
You know, and Martin would love for you to, this exercise is so simple. Martin has almost like open sourced it in a way. He's encouraging people to share it with people, with others. So when you go to his website and you see these resources, if you're an educator, if you're running a company, if you're the head of a family, or just, you know, someone who cares about his friends, and you feel this is something that could help people, go ahead and share it.
And I'd love to get feedback from you in terms of what you find. There's a little 18-year-old girl here, Hannah, and she loved the Heaven on Earth questions, and she's now in her school starting to ask other teenagers the 3 Heaven on Earth questions. And she's starting to learn, which you will if you start asking people the 3 Heaven on Earth questions. You'll start to see the patterns of answers, which I go into a little bit on the website. But some people look at heaven on earth internally, some people look at heaven on earth externally, some people look at heaven on earth in relationships. All fine. Whatever people's heaven on earth is, obviously is not doing damage to themselves or others, but whatever people's heaven on earth is, go for it. We're here to support you. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.